Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to quickly create some epic drum rhythms using the Epic Drum VI PercX from Audict and a drum sequencer plugin, Beat Scholar by Modalix. Now the question is, why would I use a drum sequencer? You think of those as most appropriate for electronic music. Well, this one has some really unique features that speed up that process of finding and producing unique rhythms. It gets you faster through the trial and error process and has some flexibility that's really helpful. So let's dive in. So here I've got Beat Scholar with the percussion instruments from PercX mapped to these pads over here. I'll reveal the mapping here. Etc. These icons don't match exactly the drums, but that's all right. By the way, the Midi routing is pretty simple here. In Digital Performer, I have my Midi keyboard as an input to Beat Scholar, and then Beat Scholar itself as an input to PercX. So it's pretty simple. I don't know if it would work exactly the same way in some other DAW. So let's start building a pattern. I'm going to start with the lowest drums, and I'm going to put them on the 1 and the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So there's 1. The way I divide the beat is just by pressing a number on my computer keyboard. 2. That gives me 2 halves or 2 eighth notes. And I think I might double that with another bass drum. And let's put in an eighth note pulse all the way across, and I think I'm going to use the brushes for that. Where is that? Right there. So divide that in 2. Just do it all the way across first, and then just fill it in. Okay, let's hear what this sounds like. Let's put in a snare fill that goes to the and of 2. And for my snare, I think it's this one. Yeah. So I'm going to have it do kind of a roll up to the and of 2. So I'm going to divide this into 8, press 8 on my keyboard and click, and there are 8 slices, and I'll do it just like that. Maybe a 16th note here. Yeah, maybe another roll over here. Yeah, let's try that. We could even have like a 2 against 3 here. I don't know how that'll sound. Sounds a little weird. Let's put in a tom fill, and that'll be with these notes. And I think it's that. So we'll do that over here. And it's going to lead to 1, so I'll put it as 16th notes. And then my next sound, lower. Probably should make this a little louder, bring up the volume. And then we'll put that on one. Maybe not quite so loud. Put it over here. Okay. So I kind of have something already, and while it's not that great, but I hope this shows you just how quickly you can start to create rhythms and put in variations and change your mind about things and give it a different feel very easily. Let's say I wanted to put triplets on this last beat here, so I'm going to just erase these. Yeah, let's make it that sound for now. So we'll do a triplet here. Maybe there should be another one. We'll see what this sounds like. Well, it sounds kind of cool. Maybe the snare could do the same thing here. Once you're done, you can trigger the sequences inside Beat Scholar using key switches, or you can drag and drop them to your DAW. How do I do it? Like that, using the Shift key and drag. And of course, you can have many sequences. You can, within each sequence, you can have different time signatures. You can go from 4/4 to 12/8 to whatever. That's kind of a neat thing about Beat Scholar. The other thing that's really interesting is that you can have multiple sounds within one lane. So as you can see here, I have several different ones, and that's something kind of unique to Beat Scholar. I think it lets you bring more, maybe a little more subtlety to your rhythms, and definitely lets you create something unique. I plan to make a longer video showing exactly how I set this up with mapping. It is a little bit of a pain to set it up, and you need a percussion VI that will allow you to load individual sounds in slots, and not all of them do that. And I'll try to cover more of the features in Beat Scholar in more detail. It's a pretty sophisticated sequencer, and I don't even know it that well, but I hope to get to some of those features in the next video. So I'll see you then.